Welcome back to Dark Souls 2. Today is going to be about finding a very important ring, a ring that will help us as we make our way through Drang Lake. We've already got one of it, but we're going to go for the upgraded version. We're going to speak to Mullen, the strange armourer.
I was hoping that you would come. I've stocked some new things and I thought that you might be interested. They've been selling rather well, and I may step up operations soon. I'm surprising even myself, to be honest.
So as you progress through the game, he has more and more items available, and in order to progress his storyline you have to spend money with him, souls. So we're going to buy the Elite Knight stuff probably from him, and eventually he'll stock an armour that we're going to use, the Alva armour. We won't get that until a wee bit later on. But once you spend money with him, his dialogue changes.
Did I mention before that, well, I'm not from these parts?
I think that's important.
I was on a journey.
This bit here, I was on a journey.
Ended up here. The desolation here was disenchanting at first, but over time, things started to turn my way. Yeah, I've got a good few regulars now. They're all strangely desperate and quite willing to pay a premium.
That's a very odd statement.
Sadly, some of them never come back, but I try not to think about it.
Because you're overcharging them. Is it arrogance that causes him to be so honest with us and basically admit to the fact that he's overcharging people? Or is it naivety, or...?
I'm no expert, but that appears to be a fine specimen.
He's talking about Benhart of Hugo.
The monstrous thing has a peculiar design, quite unlike anything found in Volga.
And it's interesting that his take on the sword is interesting because...
Would you ask him if he won't sell it?
So he's interested in buying it.
I'd have to take another look, but I'm confident I could offer quite a price.
He's prepared to offer a lot of money for it. And
thanks very much. Do come again.
It's interesting that he's prepared to pay money for it because as we progress through the game, we learn things about this sword apparently. And there's developments that occur that suggest to me that Mullen might be either out of his depth and not have the knowledge and experience that you would expect an armourer to have, or maybe somehow he says he was wandering around and he ended up here in Missoula. I wonder if he just wandered into the armoury and decided it was his. Anyway, we get a bolt stone from the crows. You can use that to upgrade armour, to use it to infuse armour, infuse shields, or weapons.
See that statue?
With Macduff.
Gives me the willies.
Macduff's in the Lost Bastille, and you can use it, like I say, to add lightning damage to your weapon, or you can use it to increase lightning resistance to your shield. Or, yeah. But infusions are actually quite good in this game. They add a depth and variety to the weapons. I guess they were present in Dark Souls 1 as well, but I like the way that they've incorporated it into this game. So these goblins, we've encountered them once before because we came here at the beginning of the game. They've got basically no poise, but they obviously do poison damage, so just be careful, try not to get hit by them. And they have a chance to drop, they can drop a lot of weapons. They drop life gems as well, and yeah, quite a lot of things. I change into the halberd here because this is actually an ambush. We picked up the fragrant branch of yore in the previous episode, and we're going to use it on this NPC. It's on Petrifier. This is Rosabeth of Melfia, is it? And because she's inhaled the fragrant branch of yore, she's coughing and spluttering.
I'm fine. I think. No, I'm fine. Really, I am. My name is Rosabeth. Thank you so much for rescuing me. Oh.
We're not going to go through all our dialogue. But,
I have my His name is Carillion of the Fold, a famed sorcerer in Melfia, our hometown. I was fascinated by sorcery, and so, well, he's so unique, you see. When he set out for Drang Lake, I couldn't let him go alone.
More like you hassled the guy and followed him
We were separated quite early on.
because he wanted rid of you. She seems like a very naive,
I'm rather unskilled. My lord probably ditched me.
naive but enthusiastic,
But
innocent,
I'm a fast learner when it comes to pyromancy.
and you can
What you're
tell
fascinated by.
she's picked up like wee
And
snippets of
escaped.
wisdom from
Not
Carillion.
always the same thing.
This,
Why
I
can't
don't think
just
that was
focus on
something
what
that she
I
came
truly
out with.
enjoy?
I think that was probably something that Carillion said to her.
Oh dear, I shouldn't be so choosy. It's hardly
You
my
know,
place.
maybe a hint to her, you know, what you like and what you're
I have
skilled
my
at isn't
area.
the same thing.
I was
Go back
when
to
I-
washing dishes or sewing.
safe.
I don't know. I'm not being. That's just my interpretation of the dialogue. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that. So as you can see, you get the ambush now, and I've added aromatic ooze to my halberd. I make a big mistake here. I'm lucky to survive that. The life gems really help out here. And you can see how well the halberd works with the spinning attack. So that's basically the backstep attack, where you press like B on the controller and then R1. And you can see we had a basilisk as well. And in this game, basilisks do petrification damage. In Dark Souls 1, they would curse you with their breath or their fog or whatever. Not fog. Yeah, their breath. And in this game, it's petrification, like what happened to Rosabeth. But yeah, basilisks, they also drop infusion stones, so they can be this can be a useful farming spot. And these rooms up here also have goblins in them, and there's a couple of wee items to pick up in these rooms as well. I don't really think the aromatic ooze did much damage there, much additional damage. I just want to apologise if it seemed like I was personally being sexist earlier on when I was talking about Rosabeth. Not at all. It's just my interpretation. Just want to... Anyway. So you have to kind of jump over to these wee bits. It can be a wee bit tricky. I actually think the hammer weapon does better against these guys. Probably just because they've got no poison. These guys have the least amount of health, the ones that throw the stones. The ones that have the big kind of like club made out of bones. So we get human effigy there, and in here we get the Estus shard. But yeah, the ones with the clubs I think have the most amount of health, which is like just under 500. It's quite a challenging wee introduction to this path. This is one of the alternative paths. So we had the first path was going through from Majula to Hades, and then Hades on to No Man's Wharf and so on. This is another path, and this is taking you to the Shaded Woods, and it's in the Shaded Woods that we'll find the ring that we're looking for. And I've actually just spent the last 2 days, that's not right, the last 2 days. I've been playing Dark Souls over the last couple of days, and getting a couple of hours in here and there, and all of my attention and focus has been placed on getting the upgraded version of the ring that we're about to go for just now, and it was very challenging, but you'll see that in future episodes. It's actually one of the most frustrating experiences I've ever had in Dark Souls, trying to get it upgraded. version of this ring. So don't rush up to where he came from there. If you rush up into that wee open area, it's another ambush. You've got 2 of the hammer wielding goblins, and you've also got 2 stone throwers up to the left there. So just be wary of that. I don't know what that is. It looks like a giant testicle, like a mono testicle. But I don't think it is. I think it's actually extending from their abdomen. Maybe it's like abdominal distension, is that the right word? Whatever it is, it looks pretty creepy anyway. So I might use some of these hexanorns. We picked these up in the last episode. And they actually do quite well against these goblins. We picked these up in Harvest Valley. Yeah, the hammer class weapons really do very well. Get another Pharaoh's Lockstone. And they actually seem to be very powerful in this game. They were also good in Dark Souls 1, but in this game they just seem, yeah, just a touch more powerful. And as well, the only problem I have with them is the fact that sometimes your attacks can whiff over enemies, and the reach isn't great. But it looks like an amazing weapon as well. The design of it. Throwing knives come in handy sometimes. Yeah, that was another thing I forgot to mention. Once you've spoken to Rosabeth, she'll ask you to clover. So you have to give her some of your equipment, and once you give her your equipment, she'll then move to Majula, and she'll become like a pyromancy trainer. She stands at the base of the monument where Crestfallen Soldan is, and once you've opened the pathway as well, go back and speak to Benhart of Jugo. He's got some extra dialogue once you've opened the path. So I don't know who that statue is supposed to be of. There's a few statues around this area, but I like the autumn effect they've given the area. It looks like it's the leaves are falling and whatnot. And again, we've got more statues with their heads missing. And in the previous episode we've seen that at Hade's Tower of Flame, when we were looking up onto the Cathedral of Blue at the one-dimensional statues. So you've got 3 pathways to choose from here. You've got this one to the left, you've got this one in the middle, and you've got this foggy one here. This is the one you want to use, the foggy one.
Just wait, you dirty rat.
So we meet Crichton.
Oh, I remember you.
Yep. We let you out
Don't you scare me like that. I thought you were him.
We let him out of his self-imposed cell
Bastard with a ring.
at Huntsman's Copse.
Stone Cove down the way.
And I had a wee technical problem here. Steam had some problems when I was doing this.
Like that.
So rather than continue, I just went back and saved the game. Yeah, there was some problems with Steam last weekend, and the servers, the FromSoft servers as well. But he's talking about Pate.
For the good of the world and for my own honour, I won't let that bastard live another day.
So he's on a mission to find Pate, and it's interesting that Crichton has covered his face totally. So what you want to do is when you come into this foggy area, you want to light a torch, and the reason you want a torch is because there's almost invisible enemies in here, and one of the easiest ways to spot them is through their shadow. You can see there's one over there, just to my 12 o'clock and a 1 o'clock, up in the top right there. Can I point to them here? You can make an outline of them quite easily, but sometimes they can be slightly tricky to spot. And you see that tree over to the left. You can also strike that tree and it lets out like a howling or a very kind of low frequency like grumble, and that actually baits these enemies. They're called forest protectors or forest guardians, and it baits them into coming over to where the tree is. The biggest worry you've got here is being backstabbed. If these guys backstab you, they'll probably one-shot you at this level. They do quite a lot of damage. They've got quite a lot of health actually. I think they've got something like 900 health points. And what we're going to do is, so if you come out where we just spoke to creating, follow the path to the left, and it brings you up to here, and you won't encounter any of these forest guardians, and we'll meet a new NPC here.
Leave me be. I like it quiet. Leave me be.
This is Vengaro.
What business have you here, traveller? You may call me Vengal, if I deserve a name in this sorry state. 'Tis rare to flap these gums. This is pleasant.
Or what's left of Vengaro, or Vengal.
Long ago, I was hired to defend the kingdom. I remember a long, brutal fight, and then somebody killed me.
So he gives you a slight history lesson. We're not going to go through all his dialogue because there's about 5 minutes worth of it.
Too, and found myself like this.
But as you can see, he's a disembodied head.
But I want to warn you of something. My body. I see visions. My body, headless, raging without me. My body wielding my sword, a sword forged only to kill. My body will show no mercy. If you see the wretched thing, stay far away.
And I've got to assume that's foreshadowing. FromSoft like foreshadowing in their games, so we pick up the claymore here. I like the claymore, it's a better version of the bastard sword.
Sometimes I wonder what's become of the kingdom.
And again, more history lesson.
Hand, yes.
A cell sword.
We soldiers stared death in the eye together, and for his highness, I am afraid. But perhaps it's for the best. We knew not what we fought for. I was born in Feroza.
This is
in
interesting.
the distant east. When I was born, we were already mired in prolonged conflict with our neighbours.
So was it
Eventually,
Feroza versus Mirror?
The kingdom fell, and our people scattered. Thank you for lending an ear to my ramblings. Here, take these.
Again, he uses the plural.
Go along.
We pick up his helmet here, and it's actually really good. It adds a lot of defence. I'll be using it quite a lot in my playthrough. Not just now, but definitely later on. But what he said to us, his dialogue, I assume that he's talking about Feroza having conflict with Mirror, which I believe is also in the east. Don't forget to pick this human effigy up. But I like Vengaro's animalistic helmet. Not sure what it's supposed to be. It's like is it a dragon or? No, I'm not sure. It looks kind of like a wolf or something maybe. I don't know. Maybe you guys know what it is. Yeah, it definitely looks kind of like a canine, kind of crossed with something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can see there that we used the tree to bait an enemy into coming towards us. Here we get the old sun ring, and what this does is it's like a defensive ring that has offensive capabilities. Does that make sense? Probably not. Basically, you charge the ring by taking hits from enemies, and then it has like an explosive effect. I think it's maybe for PvP. I've never really used it. Vengaro also sells lightning urns and gold pine resin. He also sells the rare ring of sacrifice equivalent for this game. So if you come up here, and I'm not really, it's hard to kind of show you how to get to all these things in the Shaded Woods, but basically this is from where I picked the first item up, the old sun ring. You just kind of keep going down the hill and you'll encounter this pathway up here, and you get the Claranfrey ring +1. And this is the reason that I came to the Shaded Woods out of sequence, because I wanted that ring because it gives you 5.5% increase on the your stamina regen. The base one is 3.5. We also picked the clear bluestone ring up there, +1. So if you're a caster, that increases your casting speed by 35%. So that's really worthwhile. But yeah, the ring I'm talking about that I was trying to get, and I spent quite a number of hours trying to get, was the Claranthi ring +2. And you have to use a bonfire ascetic to do it, which bumps the game up, or part of the game up into New Game Plus. And yeah, it was difficult, quite challenging. So we come up here, got a bonfire behind us, wee slipway there, or falling down pathway, and you can see that there's a new enemy type around here. That's a petrified version of the enemy over there, to the right, or to our left now. There's an item up here, so just come up the fallen bit of concrete or stone. It's just a radiant life gem, but I definitely use that later on. So there was one of those curse pots above us, or petrification pots or whatever they are. I think it's curse, yeah, it's curse pots, sorry. And just take them out with an iron arrow or a strong bow or heavy bow. And then, yeah, just bait this guy into coming over towards you, because if you run out there to take him on, you'll bait all 3 of them to come after you. Or you'll aggro all 3 of them. And these guys are, oh sugar, I've forgotten her name. Lion warriors? No, that's not the right name, but yeah, they're like, they're supposed to be like lions crossed or something, I believe. And their weapon does, I think it's curse damage. Yes, it does curse damage or something, on top of the fact that it actually does a lot of damage as well if you get hit by it. And you can see we've got a giant basilisk over there. And we won't be taking that on in a 1-to-1. I kind of get careless here. Yeah, that basilisk, we're going to use poison arrows on it when we come back here. I'm just showing you these enemies. I'm not actually going to take this, like, clear this area out, or finish this area. We'll do that later. I'm very lucky I survived there. I've probably only got a couple of health points at this point. Yeah, they wield the great axe. I think they have like 800 health points or something. And you can get their armour. They drop their armour sometimes. And they also drop the lion great axe. And something else as well. And you've got these strange whispering sounds in this area as well. These aren't the same whispers obviously as the ones I was talking about in previous episodes. The whispers we heard in previous episodes are feminine, but these ones are obviously kind of like a deep masculine, creepy. They're definitely very creepy voices. So we get bleeding serum there, which you can apply to your weapon. Just does bleeding damage. And I was worried that this basilisk, this massive basilisk, was going to aggro if I went up here, but thankfully it doesn't. Or it doesn't. And there's actually a ring you can buy from Shalquar, the cat, back at Majula, that's quite useful in this area. We get a titanite chunk and petrified dragon bone. So commonly called dragon bone, but the veracity of the name is questionable. It's an upgrade item. You come down here, get another item to pick up. Just magic bolts, but they'll come in useful later on definitely, even though I'm not really using crossbows. Anyway, next episode we'll be going back to Harvest Valley and Earthen Peak. Thanks for watching.